What's up, guys? This is Real Chief 74 and welcome back to another versus video here on my channel. In today's video, we're going to be putting two transformers head to head with each other. We have the Lionel CW80 as well as the Rail King Z750 transformer, and we're going to be talking about which transformer is the best and what you guys think about them in the comment section below. Now, I already did a video on what is the worst track section ever built, the Lionel Fast Track or the MTH Real Track system, and I think I might have started a little bit of a fan war down in the comments section below. But in today's video, we're going to stay positive this time around and talk about the pros and the cons of both of these iconic transformers. So sit back and relax, and I hope you guys will enjoy the show. Let's talk about the Z750 first. Now, the Z750 Rail King transformer has been used for many starter sets by MTH in the early 2000s. We have very simple features on the front of the transformer, including the bell button, a whistle button, and the direction button, and then we have the throttle in the center. We also have a light up at the top here which tells us when power is applied to the track and the transformer. And we also feature a circuit breaker which you have to plug into the back of the transformer in order to operate everything. And then once that is all done, you go ahead and take the two wires which are connected to the track and connect them to these two little knobs in the back of the transformer. Now, this transformer really does come in handy when running a small loop of track around a Christmas tree or a small oval on the floor, but when it comes to operating a huge layout, you really can't do that much with the Z750. You have to go with the more advanced version, which has a lot more volts to it, because if you try to add a couple of more feeder wires to the back of these knobs, you're not going to get that much of a difference. It's still going to apply the same power to the track, and your train is not going to operate as properly like it should. Now, unfortunately, we're slowly starting to come to a day and age where transformers are starting to become a thing of the past, which I hope they don't. But both MTH and Lionel have come up with some new ways to operate your trains, such as using the Lionel Line Sheet Plus remote and the MTH DCS remote command system, which is previously new. And I'll hopefully get to do a versus video on both of these remote control systems in the near future. But it's also really nice to see that MTH and Lionel still sell these transformers today, because we also live in a day and age where nostalgia is starting to come back, and who doesn't love running something old which basically becomes new again. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the CW80 next. Alright, next up we have the Lionel CW80 transformer, and just like with the Z750 from Rail King, the CW80 was used for many Lionel starter sets in the early 2000s. Now, this transformer also does have a little bit of a complicated history when it comes to operators and collectors, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and talk about some of our basic features first. So right off the bat, we have three buttons in the center of the transformer. We have a direction button, we also do have a whistle button, a bell button, and then we have the orange throttle at the rear end. But if we turn it around, we can see, unlike the Z750, we have four knobs this time. Two for track power and the other two for accessory power. Now, I usually don't run this transformer when it comes to operating a huge layout. I tend to run it when it comes to operating accessories or maybe some street lights and such. Because from my experience, when you turn on the CW80 transformer, there's a fan inside which cools the mechanism. But then after a while, you kind of get a little bit of a headache from hearing it. And sometimes the fan doesn't usually operate properly. And because of it, I had a situation where it melted the back of where the knobs are, so I couldn't technically run a train off of the side of the transformer. And then when it comes to this CW80, I noticed that the throttle is a little bit loose. So if Lionel continues to make the CW80 transformer, they really should probably think about tightening the throttle a little bit better. Now, unlike the Z-750, you can actually hook up more wires to the back of the transformer, and that will allow you to run a much larger layout. And to operate an accessory, or to control the power of the accessory, you do this very simple step. Take your fingers and press them down on both the direction, whistle, and bell button on the transformer, and then this green light on the transformer will start flashing. Once that happens, slowly move the throttle up to the voltage rate that you want your accessory at, and then once you're comfortable with that voltage rate, go ahead and release your fingers and then slowly move the throttle back down. The number one complaint that I hear a lot when it comes to operating the CW80 is that it doesn't really like any pre-war or post-war equipment that much. Now for me, I haven't really had a problem when it comes to operating a post-war Lionel engine with the CW80, but I will say, for some reason, the bell button doesn't really seem to like the whistle unit that much. It seems to like some of the newer DC equipment versus the AC equipment of the pre-war or Lionel post-war engines. However, I also did hear that Lionel has made a new and improved CW80 transformer, and that's pretty much a story for another day because I don't really currently own the newer version of the CW80, so I would really like to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. But anyway, let's go ahead and hook up both of these transformers, and I'll share with you guys the difference in the operation. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and run a MTH locomotive using the Z-750. So let's go ahead and turn on the power and we'll get started. Let's turn the throttle up. Okay, now the locomotive is turned on, so let's go ahead and roll it out. Seems to be doing alright going around the curve. Okay, so the engine is starting to slow down, so let's go ahead and give it some more power. Alright, so now that we tested a MTH locomotive on the track here, let's go ahead and operate a Lionel post-war engine. Let's give it a little more power. Doesn't really seem to like the whistle that much, just like with the CW80. Still no luck. Alright, so when it comes to a layout like this, the Lionel engines seem to struggle a little more than the MTH engines. Now, I know you think I'm crazy, but let's go ahead and operate a Lionel post-war engine now with the CW80 transformer. seems to be doing all right. Now watch what happens when I press the bell button. Now let's go ahead and bring the big boy back out and we'll run it with the Lionel CW80. So let's just give it a second to charge up and then we'll run it around the layout and see how she operates, like I said. Let's go ahead and roll it out. So once again, it seems to like the DC operated locomotives a whole lot better than the AC locomotives of the pre-war and post-war period. Let's see if we can go ahead and operate the PFA sequence. Go ahead and do it again. Okay, that's interesting. It really doesn't seem to like the PFA sequence that much. Alright, that's really interesting. It's actually the first time I ever experienced that before. Alright, well, I hope you all have enjoyed today's Versus video. I know there are some people that are going to be complaining in the comments section saying that it was more of an overview than a Versus video, but at the same time, I didn't really go over all of the complaints when it comes to both of these transformers, so I would really like to hear what your guys' thoughts are about both of them in the comments section below. And a special thanks to my followers on Instagram who suggested this idea to me. I always wanted to do another Versus video here on my channel, and considering that the York show is going to be within a couple of days, I thought that this would be the right time to do it. And I'm going to be cutting back on some of the future videos that I'm working on, especially the I Love Toy Trains challenge video, which I'm currently in production of. I'm going to be holding back on that until the York show is over. And if you guys are ever at York next weekend, make sure to come down to the Orange Hall and say hi to me. I'll be wearing a Union Pacific hat as well as a matching t-shirt, and I'll be happy to shoot the breeze with you and answer a couple of questions, anything train related, and also to have a good time as well, because that's what we're always here for when it comes to these York shows, is to have a good time. So once again, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and as always, don't forget to hit the notification bell down below for any other projects that I upload. But until next time, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks again.